Welcome to the Printer's Edge with LaManna, a podcast about how to sell, buy, or build a printing business. Now here are your hosts, LaManna and Ken Okel.
Welcome to the Printer's Edge podcast presented by the LaManna Alliance. Hi, I'm Ken Okel here with LaManna. And you know what, folks? Rock and I, we often agonize over what we should talk about on this podcast. And we realized that the inspiration was actually coming into Rock's phone because your cell phone has been blowing up with a lot of calls about one specific thing.
Rock, it's time. What do I do next? And it's unbelievable during this time, which is strategic time. October, November, December, fourth quarter, people, business owners, strategists are all looking into the next year, next 3 years, the next 5 years, and ultimately the next 10 years. How do we want to look?
And you've especially been getting some calls from people who are kind of like, I'm 63, 64, it's maybe time. What do I do?
And it's a great question. You know why? I'm going through the experience myself. I turned 64 in March, and I'm working with my medical agent for Medicare. I'm looking at my full benefit Social Security. I'm looking at my estate plan. I'm looking at everything. Life insurance, long-term care. Being in Florida, you better be prepared, especially for the medical needs, the medications. I'd hate to say it, but there's always some type of dire need for some type of an exit strategy. It could be personal, could be personalized, it could be career, it could be many different ways of living life and having at least a strategic plan of making something happen for the future. Prepare for the future is the bottom line.
Is there something about us that we'd rather focus on the day-to-day work and we just keep putting off tomorrow until some other day, and then all of a sudden that other day is just about here?
Well, I've been working with business owners over the last 20 years, and that has given me a lot of experience and a lot of situations that I'm faced with until this past March when, after my birthday, that same week, I got a call from Medicare.
Oh.
And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't preparing for Medicare, but guess what? That's part of the process. You need to file before your 65th birthday, and then you got to start asking yourself questions. Then I started looking at not only my personal life and my family and my charities and my wife. What if something happens to me? Am I prepared for my family? Or in this particular case, in the year 2018, I've experienced 6 funerals. Why? Because people are in their 80s and 90s in our family, and people are passing away, or friends of their parents and so on. It's disappointing to find out how many people were not prepared for death. Because bottom line is, death is also a business. And you have to prepare for death and your family and your legacy. That's something that has to be documented. It is very, very important. And that's one of the first areas I start looking at when people start calling me, is not only their wealth generation and their transaction and transition. You got to start looking at your personal life and get your own house in order, especially when you see people basically dying in our industry at an early age, and all of a sudden there's no succession.
It's a crisis.
It is a crisis. And you know what? You're behind the 8 ball if you haven't prepared for death, if you haven't prepared for sickness, or someone having a heart attack in an executive leadership position. What do you do now? That's why big companies such as a 3M company and so on, or even the Pope has successions. You have to really look at it as an individual, for your family and for their future and your future. You know where you're going to end up eventually. So be prepared for it.
And for people who are maybe approaching that time when they're going to have an exit strategy from their company, they haven't thought about it much in the past, suggestion for where they should start or a realistic timetable?
Well, first of all, you need trusted advisors and you need experts. And there's basically an expert in every area. So you ask the question, first of all, who do you trust? Who do you look at as a mentor, for an example? Or who do you look and trust of good judgment or prudent judgment? Or look towards a successful transaction or transition, okay? And it could be a friend, it could be a priest, it could be a rabbi, it could be whatever you want. But the bottom line here is you need to go to someone that knows the game, knows the rules, because most of this, anytime there's money involved, it's regulated. It's regulated, it's legal. I'm going through situations with a family business right now where the father in the family wants to buy out one of the sons. And that was a huge shock to the son, okay? Well, guess what? I've been through that transition. I went through a family transition, a succession plan. What did we do? We hired an attorney. We hired a valuation expert. And basically, we put a deal together. We collaborated. Cut a deal, put it all together. But guess what? What happened? The seller went on to retirement. The buyers went on to grow the business. So there's a game plan. And so basically, you have to look out. I've always looked at things 5 to 10 years out, and I think that's what you need to do. So when you're 65, you want to look at yourself at 75. Where do you want to be, either financially, personally, in your marriage, your health, whatever. 10 years, you might think is a long time, but it goes pretty damn quick.
Rock, as we look forward, let's say someone gets those good advisors, they get the plan. Should they talk to the family, other people in the organization about where they're going?
I'm a huge believer in communication, being open and honest, and it's all about integrity. Because eventually, there's no secrets. It's a situation where you, as the decision maker, and the final decision maker, male, female, mother, father, brother, sister, you should have the opportunity to communicate what you believe your legacy is, and you want to do what's right. And that's how I look at things, is integrity matters, and being open and honest with people is the best way to go. And I'm a huge believer in communication. But at the same time, someone eventually has to make the decision. So even if you're working with an attorney, let's say, an example, an estate planner. An estate planner's got a checklist, and they're going to ask you for certain things. You could have a 45-page estate plan or trust, and 90% of it is boilerplate because it's the law. I'm in Florida. So Florida, you have a Florida attorney, put your estate together, and there's various questions. Rock, who's your trustee? Rock, what happens to your assets after your death? How many children do you have? What about grandchildren or generational skip tax situations? Another one is life insurance.
Long-term care?
Long-term care is another question that you'll be asked. Social Security. Okay, there's another one. So you have to look at the situation. These are questions that only you could answer. The attorney is just going to put in writing how you want things divided. But there's also laws. There's rules. There's statutes to administer. But the bottom line is, after all the deaths that I've seen or deaths that I've experienced, it's really down to the family and their communication of how the wishes, that's the first place you go, is who is the executor, who's the trustee, and what needed to be done. That was up to the person to make those final decisions. And financially, it's up to them what they want to do. So I've experienced smooth transitions in death, and then I've also seen disruption during and division after a death, and in this case, a parent. And you know what? It's very sad. I'm one of 11 children, and I don't know exactly what my father is doing in his situation. However, I do know he's going to do the right thing for what he decided to do with my mother. And that's all that matters to me. And that taught me values. And once I learned from my father what to do and how to do it right, even if you have to spend money, to get the right things done, guess what? You do it. You do it to do it right. Because when I pass, I don't want to have any division amongst my family. I want my family to understand that I wanted to do the right thing for everyone because I believe in eternal life. So my deal here is, hey, I'm here for a certain amount of time. Here's the business aspect of it. But overall, I'm headed to heaven. That's my goal.
Makes sense to get the right deal.
There you go.
I want to tell you about an upcoming event that you might want to check out. Because let's face it, marketing drives sales. What if you could have a chance to energize your direct mail with some of the best minds in online and offline marketing? You can do that at an event called Market Edge 2018. It's happening the first week of November in Clearwater Beach, Florida. This is basically your chance to get together with some of the industry leaders in offline and online marketing and talk about how you can take your direct marketing to a new level. Great event for commercial printers. The idea is you're going to change the way you're doing things, find ways to use technology to enhance your ROI. There's going to be hands-on workshops. Rock and I are going to be there. We wanted to let you know about this event. We know there's a lot of events to choose from. We decided that this was one where we needed to be. We also want to let you know, we talked to the organizers and we were able to get a special 20% discount for listeners of this podcast and other people who are involved with the LaManna Alliance. So if you would like to go to this event, there's a code. It is LaManna20. And I'll put this code in the show notes as well. LaManna20, LaManna, all caps, then the number 20. If you're into that code, you'll get 20% off this conference. To find out more about this event, go to www.marketedge2018.com. And again, I'll put that in the show notes. So something to think about. If you want direct mail to define your success next year, this might be a good place for you to be. Rock, if someone would like to talk to you about these scenarios or anything else, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Very easily. You could reach out LinkedIn. My profile, Rock LaManna, RockLamanna. RockLaManna.com, website. Subscribe to my blog and emails, monthly emails. Twitter, @RockLaManna. Skype. We could go on. And of course, email direct, rock@rocklamanna.com. I'm ready to hear your situation.
And if you'd like to reach me, my name is Ken Okel, O-K-E-L. Website is kenokel.com. I do professional speaking about productivity. I'm also Rock's Director of Communication. And of course, if you'd like to reach me by email, it is tvguy, as in, hey, are you that TV guy? @kenokel.com. Well, Rock, as we wrap this one up, I guess there's one thing left for us to say.
See you in the marketplace.
This is the Prince's Edge with Rock LaManna. Thanks for listening.